everyone, Flapjack Pants here. Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Play series. Over the past 2 years, we've worked on our new city project here. As you can see, our building style has evolved and changed. And so the question that I've been thinking about over the past few weeks is, do we update some of our older buildings in order to be more in line with some of the new building techniques that we've learned? And guys, I think the answer that I've come to is yes. One of the first things that I want to do is to update our church building. There's a lot of remodeling I have in mind, but as such a large and important central building to our city so far, I feel like it should be the first thing that we remodel. Alright guys, as you can see, we are finally done here with our church remodeling. I've kept most of the silhouette of the building itself, for the most part, the same actually. I feel like it's very iconic here in the new city, and it was worth keeping around. The main thing I did change is just adding a lot more weathering and shading using the oak strip logs and the birch strip logs over here. As you can see, it creates a pretty nice effect. Especially I'd say around dusk or dawn. Right now it's like noon roughly, wherever the sun is. So I added some smaller detailing changes too, like removing some of the slabs that were jutting out here and this section, replacing it with lecterns. So I feel like it has a more cleaner, more polished feeling to it. But I'd say the inside is where the biggest change is. You can see I've added a ton of glazed terracotta here just to add more vibrancy and color to this whole place. I've sprinkled in here some banners which are supposed to represent icons. Of course, the scale that we're building at, it's really difficult to cram in any detail that kind of resembles icons like this, so that's why I went with banners. Over here in the back there is a huge icon of the Virgin Mary and Jesus, but you know, obviously, as you can tell with the scale that we're working at, once again there's a lot of difficulty in getting that all in. And then back here too, there's the bread being served for communion, along with where I'm storing all of the banners. So you know, I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought this whole process, redesigning and implementing, would probably take around 2 hours because I already had the structure built up, but probably in total the process was around 20. But seriously, I think it would have been faster to just tear down this whole thing and build it up from scratch than to redesign it the way I have. But I think it has all been worth it though. The effect of this on the skyline is really cool. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention I added glass up here to kind of change up the shading so that the domes here look more spherical from the surface. But yeah, so all of that detailing, everything that I just mentioned, has, I think, all contributed to making this a much better centerpiece for the city. Now that we have that pretty old project all done and dusted, I want to work on a much older one actually here in the southeast. All the way over here past the old and new city, I actually have my old slime farm project. As you can see, I've dug out this massive 5x1 chunk area all the way down to bedrock. And this was all slime chunks, and I was supposed to convert this into probably one of the most awesome slime farms of all time, but I just never got around to it. The resources I got from this are still fueling me to this day. I still haven't needed to get stone since I made this, but it's just the farm itself that's just not here. And so today, you know, I want to finally change that. I want to turn this gash in the world, as I called it in my original world tour, into an actually fully functional slime farm. So without further ado, let's get started. that certainly didn't go to plan. Lighting up these caves, I actually managed to die and lose literally everything. I was able to find enough gear lying around to replace that, but I lost a good amount of the building materials that I was supposed to use to actually decorate this farm. So we'll need to get those later, but that being said, I'll talk about the farm itself first. This is 6 layers right here, as you can see, of a classic slime chunk farm design. Over the past few years, this kind of farm has gradually been replaced by swamp biome style farms with like mushrooms and all of that. But as you can see, this thing is still a beast. It's still producing a crazy amount of stuff. So the slime is spawning here on these platforms, and they're attracted to the iron golems. They want to fight, and so they go this way. And then because slimes have the simplest AI in the game, they just jump straight off into the magma and die. And they sometimes get stuck like this, but it's not really much of a big deal because they'll eventually despawn anyways. And yeah, so the slime balls on the magma are picked up by hopper minecarts. I think right here I actually have this little area right here I can show you. So the minecarts go into these yeeters, as you can see, like so, and then the slime blocks themselves end up going through this water stream up the bubble column into the actual storage area where they're sorted and then crafted into full blocks. So as you can see right here in the actual storage area, this thing is running pretty well. Now this thing hasn't been running for that long, and it's already produced an entire double chest of slime blocks. So I had to tinker around a little bit with this system. It's changed a little bit since the time lapse. I had to add a second sorter. Oh, this is how I died in the caves. Yeah, so as you can see right here, there's a second sorter I added because just this single one over here was actually not enough to keep up. So now we're actually able to get all of the items. This should be producing roughly a shulker box / 1 chest of slime blocks per hour. With that all being said though, let's finish gathering up our resources again and then hopefully put together the actual decorations for this thing. This has just been an incredible project, putting everything together here. Every single element about this I have spent countless hours, you know, just thinking about, planning. Pretty much every block here, apart from, of course, the main shape, which I made in Axiom, everything has been pretty much manually painted. And so you see there's a lot of fine details everywhere here, like darker zones here in the bottom being made out of mud, and on top being made out of cyan terracotta here. I added the cranes in later to kind of add a little bit more life to everything, kind of telling the story of how the slime is being extracted here. And of course I added in like these mine shaft looking bits and bobs to the entire thing as well. I will say, I think my favorite part about this entire build here is definitely the slime pool here at the bottom. So of course I put slime at the very bottom, but the way I've layered in the green with the lime here on this second deepest layer makes it so that the whole thing not only has like that fade in effect, it also like almost like looks like there's waves here at the top, and it just looks pretty much incredible. This is, of course, once again, the largest project in terms of sheer volume, and so I don't think that's going to be surpassed in a long while. You know, this entire top section here is still unfinished. First and foremost, the hills here, they're a little bit clunky because, you know, the stone is exposed here where probably there would be dirt, so I need to finish up these parts. They just make the entire ravine here look really rectangular. It's like pretty obvious that I built this in using light matica, and so we're gonna need to smooth this in later. But also, there are these remaining parts of the river here. There's probably 3 different ways we can do this. First of all, we can connect the 2 rivers together. Obviously, like probably drain a large part of the area here next to the slime ravine, but then connect them somewhere else. Or we can only plug in the river here into the greater southern canal system through just one end, so either here or here. Now, both of these have their pros and cons, but I'm kind of leaning towards plugging it in through here, just because there's a lot less land we'll have to clear. Through the mountains here, I do like how this river looks more, but then we're gonna have to basically drill through all of this area before we get to here, which is pretty much plugged into the rest of the canal. Those are the plans for how we can do this mining town in the future. But unfortunately, I'm not going to get to that this episode because I have pretty much completely burnt out on this project. I really want to work on something else for a while, and so we're going to leave this all for later. But before we work on the next project of this episode, I just thought we should probably make a few more spare sets of armor just in case I die any more times in the next few episodes. Alright, the last thing I want to do in today's episode is start another big project. I want to fix my nether hub, because right now, calling it a mess would not do it justice. My distant horizons is bugging out a little bit, but so as you can see, I have like these light trails leading to portals and to my gold farm, which did work fine in the early month of this world. But guys, this world is like 5 years old now. We need a solution that's a little bit more permanent than just random portals all over the nether ceiling here. There's signs here that used to label the portals, like this is Resource Colony Clayland. If you've never heard of that, that's because we've never been there, and this sign is still up. There's the end portal. This is probably the most important portal, along with in this general direction there's it goes to the Christmas town and our smelter. But you know, it's just a huge mess right now, and we really need to clean it up. And the way down is like this random little area right here. My main goal with this nether hub here is to set up a somewhat automated system using minecarts and rails. And so instead of being on the nether roof, I want to bring everything back down here to the actual center of the nether, so that we'll be able to access both everything in the nether. Jeez, that glitching is really bad. I hope no one gets a seizure from this video. As well as all the portals all in one place. And that will be our new nether hub. And I want to at least get started in today's episode. What on earth is that guy doing over there? Don't do it! Don't do it! You have so much to live for! No! 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 Oh, he's alive. He's alive. Guys, this is the most tense moment of this entire Let's Play. I think those guys come from this portal right here, which leads directly into the middle of the old city. And I'm not going to go through here because it's probably in the middle of a building now, but probably that guy wandered from there all the way in this direction before ending up down here. Oh, the stupid pigs. Those guys have been a massive pain in the backside this entire time. Like, just packs of hoglins. I've had to shoot them, men, women, and children. Anyways, as you can see here, I managed to get a pretty good amount of progress done here on the nether hub. I've dug out the area that this is going to be in, and I've set in the main hub redstone. This is pretty much the main meat and potatoes, as we always say, of this entire system. Now obviously there's going to be tunnels going out 1,000 or so blocks in each of these directions, but for now I just have this main area here because I think we can show it for what it is right now. So basically how this system works is it's going to be at normal hopper speed, at least for the hub area. I'm still a little bit torn on what I should do for kind of the highways that go down. Maybe we could do a piston bolt, but I probably have to tear out some of the redstone because we need 2 lines for that, one going down and one coming back, but that's for later. Basically there's these four different areas where you can start your journey. So right here, as you can see, there's a crafter of iron ingots into minecart. So you just click this and then we can get a minecart. This is an easy way of storing a bunch of minecarts. And then this oh jeez, what did I do? It's because I opened the barrel. You would not believe how much of a pain all of these stupid pigs have been this entire time. You know, I used to have a kind of mercy for the children, but now I don't. The way this works, you interact with the lectern here. As you can see right now, I only have 1 stop configured. The first one is blank, but there's 1 stop here, and what that's going to do is it's going to have a comparator signal coming out of the side here, where once we press this button, it's going to complete this circuit and send the signal down. In the case of this station right here, it's going to send it down this way, in this direction. I believe this is, what is this? This is north. So this is the north line right here. That's the east line. That one right there is south, and then that's west. So basically, if we get in here, we've selected stop 1, we're going north, so this is going to take us stop 1 in the north, which in this case is nowhere in particular. So yeah, that's just the general idea for how this is going to work. And then of course coming in, we're going to have a comparator signal as well, and basically each stop right here, I have a circuit that deducts 1 from the signal. So this is kind of a way to encode where we want to travel. Let's say the comparators are carrying a signal of 16. That means I'll pass through 16 stops before reaching our intended destination. And so I'm probably not the first to come up with this. And actually the redstone signal, it's a little bit clunky how it's implemented, because the redstone signal will travel faster than the minecart. So I have this like massive timer here which will kind of extend the amount of time the comparator signal is on. Now this would be both more complex and more simple at the same time if I had a piston bolt, because the signal would travel at the same speed as my minecart, but then I would also need, again, the 2 rails coming in and out, and then also changing lanes, going through things. It'd be way more complicated. And at the same time, Mojang has made clear that they are working on minecarts, so you know, it could be a few years, but I think eventually minecarts will be increased in speed. So maybe this entire system will pay off at the end of the day. But that's pretty much all the time I had to do for this project in today's episode. I want to talk about something different, and that is the fact that I have made a Minecraft mod. In case you haven't noticed in today's episode, everything in the overworld here and in the nether has been pretty bright. And that's because I've actually changed the way my brightness works with the first mod I've ever made, daylight. So if we just open daylight here in cloth config, you can see I've made it so that the overworld noon to midnight daylight cycle transitions between 2 different brightness modes. Basically that just means that at night the brightness is cranked all the way up, but during noon it's cranked all the way down. And that sounds really simple, but I think it's a really nice effect, because for the longest time I played at 30 brightness, which I thought was a good compromise between the 2. But actually, having it so that it can dynamically transition makes it so that, you know, when I need to go into caves or whatever, whatever dark zones there are in the world, like for example, in this little patch right here, you can almost see my brightness changing as I move around. I can actually crank up the settings so that it's more obvious. Alright, I'm setting it so that when I'm in a cave, which is outside of natural skylight, my brightness is going to go all the way up to 20, and my transition time is going to be down to 1, just so we can see. And boom, it's like full bright. And then as soon as we end up back in skylight, there you go. I think the more obvious effect is when we go into darkness. It's like right here. Boom, that's when it kicks in. And so that's how you know that this is working. I wouldn't encourage you to use Fulbright on servers or whatever, so I'll change it to the default settings here. That is the Minecraft mod that I have made, and it is on Modrinth, free to download. I also have a GitHub where you can check out the source code. Both of those will be linked down in the description, but you know, if you want another way to support this channel other than watching these videos, yeah, be sure to check that out as well. Actually, one last thing I want to say before we go is I've added a skybox texture pack to the world because I really like how Doku Craft specifically, that's the resource pack I'm using, has a really nice skybox. I've just started using this, and I think it's a really cool effect. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about how this is, because I know it kind of clashes with the kind of traditionalist old textures kind of Minecraft that we've been playing, but I think it's worth it. Anyways, that is the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I am really sorry that it took as long as it did to come out. I think it's been over 2 months at this point.
It's been a year, Daddy. I really miss you.
But man, we really started on a lot of good work. First with the slime farm ravine right here, which is still unfinished, and then later, of course, the nether hub. Oh yeah, and the church remodeling too that we done. God, that was so long ago.
Mommy says you went to the store to get milk.
I'm sorry this took so long to come out, and this is a shorter video too. But anyways, if you liked it, as I said before, like and subscribe. But I have been Flapjack Pants. Goodbye.